Imagine, if you will, that the consortium of car makers, Ford, General Motors, Toyota, had control over the censorship apparatus of social media. Imagine if they could instruct them or use their ad dollars as weight, as a lever to get them to prevent discussion of the electric car. Thus, Elon Musk comes up with this idea, an amazing idea, and wants to create it. And let's say he didn't have the funds on his own. And any time that he tried to bring up the discussion, it was deemed deleterious and dangerous to the American way of life, that it would destroy jobs, and that it was misinformation, that electrification of the car was virtually impossible and thus should be owed no airtime. And they got YouTube to suppress the information. Now, let's take that to today, and Brett Weinstein discussing the mere possibility that ivermectin might YouTube censors be an effective COVID treatment. And they have demonetized his channel, given him 2 strikes, basically saying, stop spreading this misinformation. Stop interfering with the consortium of drug companies that have created and invest millions of dollars into creating a vaccine. We definitely don't want the idea that a drug that is off patent, that you can't make much money on, might be an effective treatment. Because this is in the interest, I think we can all agree, whether or not it's actually taking place is a different story. It is in the interest of the drug makers to sell a vaccine at a price versus giving you ivermectin on pennies on the dollar. The point of this is suppression of speech. This is censorship. And the difference is that Brett Weinstein got the lab leak theory essentially correct, while YouTube and the other social media channels suppressed it, once again, as misinformation. So they become the arbiters. They become the deciders of what is true. How is this any different than the Catholic Church circa Copernicus's time dictating the fact that you must state that the sun revolves around the earth and not vice versa, as Copernicus stated and was severely penalized for? It's no different. You have a bunch of people that believe that they know best, that believe that they are serving the correct interest, perhaps, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, that are telling you what is and is not true, and thus suppressing information. Now, in terms of censorship, many people that are advocating for it, let's take a look at the pros and cons. Pro-censorship, you get rid of lies that you consider. You get rid of this quote-unquote misinformation. You get rid of what you consider to be hate speech. Con, let's just take one simple con, the Elon Musk scenario that I evidenced earlier. That is not allowed to rise to the top because the heterodox view, this positive notion that every once in a while, say 1 in 1,000 ideas, takes humanity to another level, enables us to advance as a civilization. And you are suppressing these ideas along with it. And I will tell you that it is my belief that the preponderance of the weight is on the side of the new ideas, of the Copernicuses, of the Elon Musk, versus the bad ideas that are actually curtailed. And once again, you have somebody that has been proven to be right about the lab leak theory that was suppressed by social media, and all the evidence that may or may not be coming out. I'm just saying that it is there in terms of the vaccine having deleterious effects on those who have been taking it. And this was formally suppressed by Facebook in the form of vaccine hesitancy, suppressed. So everything is geared towards getting you to get this vaccine that there are questions about. So the question becomes, is there possibly another method? And this is what Brett Weinstein is advocating. And again, he has 2 strikes on his channel. He was demonetized, both his channels, dropping his income. So YouTube is using the levers that they have to get the political discourse that they want out there. This is Google, the same thing that they're doing with search results in terms of yielding. Whatever you look for, they're going to yield left-leaning search results, which does change the way that we view the world, because we rely on Google to provide the information. We don't have a lot of time, and we read the first couple of headlines, or maybe we dive into the first couple of articles, and if they're all Vox and the New York Times, we are going to get one specific view of the world. So YouTube is basically deciding, Google rather, how we are viewing the world by suppressing this information that is pertinent, that might have value for humanity. We are basically at best maintaining a status quo, where we cannot advance. And this is what's happened throughout history with those in power. For example, again, the Catholic Church. Anytime that something wants to advance, the people that are at the very top want to maintain the status quo because it benefits them. And the same thing that the drug makers might be the same cabal that I illustrated earlier, that GM and Toyota wanted to kill the electric car. There's an old movie about that, an old documentary. Real, not, whatever. There was a vested interest. Maybe it was the oil and gas companies. Whatever it was, there were people that were extracting rents from the public and did not want this idea to interfere with their revenue sources. Could the same be happening today by the drug makers that are then employing the federal government to come down hard on the social media companies to prevent the discourse that might embattle their profits? Certainly a possibility, and I urge you to think about it. But again, the amount that humanity gains by allowing discourse is disproportionate for that one idea that makes it out, that changes the way that we perceive the world, that changes science for the better, versus all the misinformation, quote unquote, that is perhaps in some people's mind rightfully suppressed. I don't want Google to be the arbiters of what is true and what is not. These are human beings, not gods, the same as us, with their own proclivities, with their own biases that undoubtedly leak, and they are trying to shape the world and use their power to shape our views to match theirs. And this is not good for humanity overall. So I urge you, go over to Odyssey, follow Brett Weinstein there. There is a link in the description. Follow me on BitChute, Odyssey, whatever video channel that you are seeking. I'm there under Recharge Freedom. Let's enact the price on YouTube, and I say that as a Google shareholder. I don't want the censorship to succeed, and I will speak out against Google, which goes against my own financial self-interest. So that will tell you how much I truly do believe in what I'm stating. Guys, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the all notification bell if you do, and thumb up the video. And share it, because that's the only way these ideas are going to spread if you like it. Peace out and have a fabulous, fabulous day.